Hey, welcome to the Runaways podcast. My name is Cody. We are back for another week. We should be testing for nationals, but we are here doing a podcast instead. There's like almost no days left. This is Tuesday night, and we have essentially one day because Thursday is just like a travel day most of the time. I guess that's the day that you can download videos and watch them on the plane if you like want to be that dedicated. But we did just have pre-release, so most people had a great weekend. I will start over there with Dan. How was your pre-release weekend?
It didn't exist. I was away this weekend and very excited to do a Sunday night draft when I returned, but there was a product shortage, so all of those got canceled. So I had no pre-release, but I did draft last night at my local, so that was cool.
That's cool. I even in the same boat. I mean, I went to my locals. They had enough just to do the pre-release. We could not purchase any product from my locals because they had not gotten anything in. I went to another pre-release that had to cut people because they didn't have enough product for all the pre-release. They also had no product purchasable at pre-release,
Weird.
and then everything was like sold out. All the pre-releases were capped, and then like had to be shrank. Normally we would have like some big pre-releases, but they were all like 24 people or smaller in some cases. But Lucas, how was your pre-releases?
So I signed up for a pre-release that I didn't go to on Friday. So, oops, I had family stuff.
Wow, we're talking about shortage, man. You're out here
To be fair, I did let them know ahead of time, so it's not like somebody like didn't get a spot or whatever. But I did not end up going to that one. I went to a pre-release on Saturday, and then I like paid to enter, and we opened our packs, and then we were like, "Wait, we should just draft." And we actually had a pretty reasonable amount of product at the locals that we were at, so we did. Basically, we all just like dropped out of the pre-release after paying for the packs, and then just did two drafts. And those both went well for me. I went 2-0 and then 3-0. We got to get some good discussion, but that was basically the extent of my pre-releasing. Most of my week has just been drafting. I just keep playing High Seas Limited. Like every time, it's the same thing. Every time I go to the Discord or like I pop up Talishar, I just like have this little voice in my head that's like, you want to go check the draft queue? And then I was like, oh, there's 4 people. It'll only take 10 minutes. Like whatever it is. I'm like, oh, maybe in 2 minutes it'll be ready. Who knows? Click. And then of course I just end up doing like 3 drafts in a sitting because why would I do anything else? This format is just so sweet. It's really rewarding as well to keep drafting like different stuff and just like keep figuring new things out and drafting different decks and having success with them as well. This format feels like it's pretty easy to just like win with new strategies. That's how it has felt to me. You can adapt on the fly quite a bit more than I think you could in the past in draft, which is pretty sweet. But yeah, that's basically all I've been doing. I've just been drafting. Probably should have played some CC, but whatever. Who needs it?
It's only half the tournament.
Yeah, exactly.
Noah, how's your pre-releases?
Yeah, I got to go to 3, and the one on Friday was super cool, like experience. This is like a kind of newer store to FAB, but I go there probably around like once a month for Armory, so I also wanted to make it out to their pre-release, and I had to register early because it was sold out at 36 people, packed house. Yeah, it was fun. Got to play. They did the prizing where they gave the treasure packs away to people who got at least 3-1. We did 4 rounds, so that was cool. Got a treasure pack, pulled an unplayable card because apparently LSS thinks you should make cards that interact with Treasure Island and these treasure packs, but you know,
Wait, really?
those are choices that they're allowed to make.
Yeah.
That's wild.
And then in New England, we usually have like stores coordinate to let you do double headers. So on Saturday, I got to play a pre-release at noon and then at 6 p.m. So yeah, just got to get a lot of in-person reps. I was super rusty. Basically every time, like game 1 of the sealed, I would just make some like game-losing mistake that I feel like I would never make when the buttons line up green for you, you know? I was just like not thinking about the game state properly. But then I was able to lock in for the rest, and yeah, really enjoy playing the set, both in person and virtually. Also been grinding infinite queues. I'm sure if y'all are there, you've seen me in queues with you doing various levels of success. So hopefully I can iron out some of the kinks before we go to Vegas.
Yeah. My pre-release is the same thing with the treasure packs, either 4-0 or at the other one was 3-1. So that was cool. I mean, that was exciting. Like at the end, where just like a bunch of us are just like getting together. Like, okay, so if you open like a treasure, we'll split, and if you open a treasure, you'll split. So it's like everyone's just like buying into one piece of the lottery. It's like if you get like normal stuff, whatever, no one cares. But if you get like a $4,000 to $60,000 card, then like, okay, we're gonna split it. And that was like fun. It was like a fun moment. Like no one like left early because everyone wanted to see what like was open from the treasure packs and stuff. So I think all that paid off pretty well. I thought the limited set was fantastic. I think this is the best by far. This is the best sealed format they've ever made. All 3 heroes are playable.
4.
It doesn't. Yeah, all 4 heroes are playable.
Even more relevant in sealed.
Yeah. You're right. Yeah. All 4 heroes are playable. I think the requirement for a good pool is significantly lower than we've seen previously. Most of the pools are good enough at 8. The completely busted pools do happen, but at least at this point, it feels like you can play through some of that. And then it doesn't matter what hero you pick, like you're good. I just think this is by far the best sealed we've ever seen.
It should show you that the sealed format is so good when we have a hero who is pretty good and can exclusively play generics. Because that means that basically every hero is always playable, because you can always just play like, even if you only get like 2 mech reds or whatever, like you can always just play like a bunch of pirate cards and then your mech cards. So I think it actually makes really interesting sealed decisions where like in the past, some pools would just be, I never play this hero, even though maybe my generics were good for it. I got good equipments because I only got like 3 reds or whatever. But I think in this format, you can still play like Marlin with like 3 arrows and then a bunch of pirate cards or whatever, if you want to, for whatever reason. And like archetypes in sealed have never been a thing, and it feels like you can actually do that now. Like when I sit down for my sealed pool, I'm like, I have to cut good reds.
Yeah.
This feels weird. Like that's just not something you've really had to do.
Yeah, the only like real hang-ups are like, do you get enough 3 blocks? Like that's kind of important in your sealed pool.
Yeah.
I mean, in my first sealed pool, I opened 2 not so fast and no scurv, and I was like, oh, I'm down just 2 rares, and it just didn't matter. Like it's just in other sealed formats that would be like game breaking. Like if you have 2 unplayable rares, you're just like, okay, I'm out. But I thought it was great. I mean, all of the other sealed formats suck. Like this is the first one that's good.
Misfell was pretty reasonable, but yeah,
it was okay. Yeah.
But
nothing close to this.
Yeah,
I haven't seen anyone really talk about how good the seal format is.
Some of us haven't played it.
Fair.
Talk about it.
It was also funny too. One of my scurv opponents on the first day, I kept activating gold and like pausing for a response, and I could tell he was just like, "What is this guy doing? Like, why does he keep waiting and not drawing off of his gold?" And then at the end of the match, I was just like, "Do you not know that not so fast is a card?" He's like, "Oh yeah, I didn't pull one." So I educated him on the fact that that card exists and is quite good at the scurv deck.
Yep. I mean, we had on our 4-0s were like mixed. We had every hero but scurv went 4-0. I think I was the only Puffin that ended up going 4-0.
Yeah, that's at the world premiere. It seemed like Puffin was, if there was anything about the seal format balance wise that was uneven, it seemed like maybe like Gravy, Marlin, Puffin was like the
that's what people said. But I took Puffin. Yeah, I took Puffin both times, and I just like won every game I played.
Yeah, they all feel great.
Yeah.
I found myself too. I mean, this is kind of going into maybe a future topic, but I have like a list of heroes where I find that the gameplay is categorized by me preying on my opponent's downfall. And Gravy has definitely been added to that list where like every time they play one of those cards that destroys off the top, I'm just like, please fail, please fail, please fail, It's like such a negative attitude. It's like Azalea, Kano, Dio, stuff like this. I'm just like, these are a list of my heroes. I'm just like hoping they fail the whole game.
Brute feels this way a lot of the time as well.
Oh yeah, Brute for sure. Yeah, every time I click the button, I'm like, oh come on, roll the one, whip the wild rod.
Exactly.
It's great.
Cool. I mean, I thought it had a good mix of like 3-round games and then 15-round games in the seal format.
My experience as well that's super interesting with this format is that it's not even always like the same decks that do this. Like I had like a 5-game series where me and one of my friends just played the same decks into each other. And we went to like full, like 1-to-1, no cards in deck, no allies in play fatigue like 2 of the games, and the other 3 games were like over in 3 turns. Like it's super weird, the variation even within the different like decks and archetypes. It feels like every game is different.
Is that a positive or negative?
I think it's a positive, but that's also from the standpoint of somebody who prefers games where you reward adapting on the fly as opposed to having better prep. So I guess if you're somebody who prefers just like out prepping your opponent, maybe that's not a positive.
I think it shows like how deep this format is and like how much time you really need to dig into it to master it, and
Yeah.
how so very not close we're gonna get to mastery, and that makes me sad.
No, I feel great.
Oh, why does that make you sad? Like we have the whole season after plus Singapore, right?
Yeah. Like we're gonna
Yeah,
be
you
able
go
to figure out high
Singapore for
seas.
sure.
I think it's actually this should be looked at positively, where we have a real sample size of like early format how people view it, and then late format how people view it.
Yeah.
Like there's actual reason for us to grind now, and then also for us to
This
take
is
these
one
learnings later.
This is one thing that I don't actually think people have talked about. We have kind of been like shitting on the whole like US Nats is a couple weeks after release thing, but it does mean that we have like the same window, the same time between like nationals and Singapore, and we do get to like still have the dual season where we get to do high seas twice, which I do think is kind of cool. Obviously, US Nats being
It's everyone.
doesn't
We could just do
necessarily.
this a week or two later. I don't understand.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm just saying because like if they had, for example, I guess they could have still just released it earlier and then
Yeah, we're
Yeah,
the only
this-
Nats this weekend, right? Like, why don't we
Yes.
just go with everyone else? Next
And
weekend?
I believe there's no Nats next weekend. So,
Oh,
and
wait, really?
yeah, it's pretty wild.
yes,
Oh,
We're
that's
just-
this is what we've been complaining about.
I
Yes.
didn't know that.
Also, the experience is just completely different because like I keep getting messages from people who are like, I don't think there's a product shortage. I just went and bought like a case and someone else bought a case
That
from
was
the
my
store and whatever. And I was like, I went to 3 stores, 0 of them could sell me product.
I think it was East Coast distributors that
Like-
I heard.
People were just like trying to barter with whatever people open from their packs to try and get stuff who are people going to Nats.
trading
Like people be like,
commons.
I opened the thing. Okay, let me borrow that. Like one of our locals guys' decks is just like it's literally 15 people's cards combined into one deck because there's no product to be bought.
That's kind of
Where
cool,
I'm
though.
at.
No?
I mean, sure for the one guy, but what if no one like there were several other people who were like, I guess I'm not playing Puffin. Like I guess I'm not playing this at Nationals. Like I can't buy
You
anything
gotta
here.
just go on some speed dating rounds in Vegas. Make friends quickly and then take their cards.
Yeah, I just thought it was funny how different people's experience was by either abundance of product or no product, right? Cool. I guess that's it for pre-release. I did have a couple of things I wanted to talk about meta-wise. Now that we've had a little bit more time with a couple of the heroes, I would like to talk a little bit about the new heroes before we're going into nationals. And we'll start with Marlin. Isn't this deck like shit? Like this, like
It's
has
so
anyone found a
hyper-rated.
good Marlin deck? Like,
It continues to unimpress.
I think it'll
Like,
look a lot better when Azalea hits Living Legend.
Yeah, I agree. I
Yeah,
also
the Canon Marlin at least has like a real identity. Like I understand what the deck is trying to do. It just doesn't do the thing it wants to do often enough. It has like maybe 16 or so real cards in the deck, and then everything else is just filler. So like if you draw exactly 1 real card per hand, your deck's looking nice. But
Yeah.
outside of that, it's quite mopey.
I also think that the Redliner or Red Spine Manta version of the deck is probably actually pretty okay. But like Dan said, with like Azalea, like right now, what are we doing? It feels like you should probably just be Tunic Death Dealering. But I do think that that version of the deck might have some legs. There are some pretty powerful plays you can make, and potentially like being able to leverage like the cards we talk about, like 3 of a Kind, Codex of Inertia, Codex of Frailty, the new blue Ranger Boots. Like there are like a bunch of objectively powerful cards that fit into her kit. We'll just like have to see if it actually like is a playable deck, and
I think
nobody's
basically-
ever going to invest time into that before.
I
do
think
you
that'll
expect
be-
it to show up for Nats? Like it'd
No,
be good.
not even a little bit.
No, I think people will play it for sure.
I don't think so. I don't think people will play the Red Spine Manta version. I think people might play the stupid.
No one ever said they were, bro. That was just you. The card's not even a real card. Like, what do you mean?
Sure, I mean people can play
You
the
either
like
play
Death
Cannon or
Dealer
Death
Marlin.
Dealer, and you shouldn't be playing Death Dealer because then you'd be playing Azalea.
Yeah.
But the Cannon build, that kind of makes sense. Like you're preying on these decks that maybe you want to block with a couple cards, and you're just denying them the ability to block while dealing them like actual damage. Like if they don't have multiple D reacts, they're just taking a lot of damage. So the game is like 6-7 turns at most because they just like bleed out. They take damage every turn. So yeah, I think like that build, at least like there's a reason to play it. It's not the best, but you're trying to attack a certain type of deck.
Yeah, at
Aren't
least
the
it does
decks that
something.
want to block a lot,
Yeah.
playing a lot of D reacts though.
Yeah, but the thing is, you have to draw like 2D reacts to stop them because usually the arrows for 13 overpower. So you like, even if your deck's playing like 15 D reacts, it doesn't mean you're drawing 2 in most hands.
Sure.
And even then, 2D reacts, like you still need to give armor.
Yeah, you still have to give armor if it's 13 overpower, right? 2D reacts still doesn't get you there.
Yeah.
The number is just like so big.
Agreed. I do not expect. I expect the hero to be there, but I don't expect it to do well. Unless someone cracks something that no one's seen, right? Like, but I have not seen a good deck there.
Pun intended. I think you can't. There's no Kraken because the card pool is just like doesn't exist for it.
Yeah.
They like worded the card such that it has to work with harpoons and cannons.
And they made
And the way 3 of a kind works, like you have to not play a bunch of pumps because then you'll brick, and also your stuff costs 9 trillion mana, so you have to play a bunch of blues.
Yeah.
So I don't really know how much there is to
Like
get
we said
Kraken
with
on.
limited though, there's a lot of strong pirate cards. Maybe it's like a draft chaff deck to crack it.
I do think there is a lot more with. I think the problem with the build is the similar problem to like the other heroes where you just don't have Treasure Island, so you can't like do what you actually would want to do. Like if you could like consistently activate her hero ability, I'd be down to play like Golden Tipple and trade in and shit. But like you just don't like start the game with a gold when you hit. You just like have to draw cards that make gold or play a stupid hat that doesn't do anything. So like I think that's currently the biggest problem with all of those like pirate builds playing draft chaff is like the draft chaff is only good because like the heroes are playable and limited. Like the heroes are just
You just
stupid
have
text.
mountains of gold.
Yeah, there's like textless. Oh, it's so annoying.
It's great though, because like we don't want an injection of 10 billion gold into CC.
Yeah, no, I know.
Gold is, like, OP.
But like I would love to just like activate Marlin and play Golden Tipple like every turn of the game. I got that.
Well, you could do that. You just have to play a funny hat, like you said.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, they printed the cards.
Indeed.
Fair enough. I wish we had one more week because then I might actually play Gravy. I think the deck is good. As anyone who's been testing on Talishar knows, there's 1,000 Gravy players right now. I don't know how many are going to actually show up the Nats. It kind of feels like it might be higher than people initially think. But I think the deck's pretty good. If it showed up, it was the most played, I would not be surprised.
I think it might be the most played deck. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just because of how like down bad all of the other like perceived top heroes are. Like it was like I feel like Kano and Florian were like really big like things people are talking about, especially Florian, right? Is like the expected top hero, but it's just like I don't know. He's just like seems less and less impressive as days go on. Like it's just like okay, you could play Florian, sure, or you could play Gravy Bones. Like that.
Everyone I talk to is like, oh yeah, but Gravy matchup's kind of tough. It's like every deck. Like maybe Gravy's just the best deck. I don't know.
It's like the best deck at least half the time that you're playing it.
That's
at least half the time that you sit down with the deck, you were just the best deck. And then the other part, you're like, I have all these yellows that don't block in my hand, and I can't do anything because I have no gold. So I think I just lose the game. And then there's like a bunch of weird spots where like you're going down together and you're like, they're like half clearing your board, half hitting you in the mouth. And then like, they just like on one turn, they're like, here's 20 damage at your face. And you're like, oh, I guess I just die as like way ahead in position in the game. Which is a little tough. That's why I said, if I had like one more week, I think I could actually get it to the spot where I feel comfortable bringing it to a nationals, but like,
so wait,
I don't know.
One
I still
thing.
want to. Like, there's like a small chance that like I just like
You should trust
bring it
past
anyway.
Cody, man. He said he was locking in.
You did like promise several times last week that you wouldn't play it though.
I know.
So that would
Well,
be awesome.
I don't have any of the cards. Like,
We've all
legitimately have
I
none
can
of the
run you
So many
cards.
things.
Bro,
That's why I said
no
I'd have to borrow them.
excuses, dude. We got all the cards, man. No excuses of no cards.
It just feels like such a bad move to play the deck at the nationals when like
Okay,
I'm
wait,
winning
having
games.
fun.
No. What I was gonna say though, we play Talishar. I don't know stats on everybody. I mean, if you look at Talishar, it's uptime, I guess is the proper terminology, has been quite low because people have been crashing the servers playing so much.
Yeah.
But that still doesn't mean that there's like 5,000 games going on at a given time, right? So it doesn't mean like every single person who's going to nationals is going to have like 100 games into Gravy. So I think you will get some real amount of people who are just like, oh, it's the new Gravy Bones hero. Like I played against him in my pre-release. I don't like have a really solid game plan. I haven't warped my sideboarding decisions to tailor for like beating Gravy Bones. So I think that's like a real bonus to playing at IRL.
I'm aware you've been chirping in my ear all day
Yeah.
that I should play Gravy Bones.
Agree.
And
Yeah.
I agree
like
with myself, and you should agree with yourself.
instead of the other decks that I'm thinking about bringing, because I don't technically have a deck for nationals yet. I started testing Gravy Bones again, and I was like, it's like legitimately the day before for me, because like I have tomorrow,
it, man.
and then I leave on Thursday.
It's not that
I'm just
deep.
like, it is that deep when I'm like just losing
calling
games from
value's, like,
states
just
that
as
I
good,
shouldn't be losing
worst
from.
case.
True, the calling, it
You
is
get to play more
tempting to play
drafts.
Gravy just to go play in the calling.
Yeah.
Afterwards. But I don't know. I wish I had one more week. It just
Same.
feels, and I wish I could have product to like just
Yeah.
have it.
Are you
Would be
saying
nice.
1 week total is not enough to learn 2 formats? That's crazy.
Oh,
Who would have thought?
See, if you here, ready? If you think about one more week, say you test for 8 hours a day in that week, there's still technically enough time in the next 3 days before the tournament to get 1 week's worth of testing done.
True.
sure.
You also just don't even have to say 8 hours a day for like a whole week is a whole week of testing. I mean, not everybody gets on that much.
I would say like put in 40 hours. I think over 7 days is reasonable.
Yeah, I agree.
No, I think there are decks that I would like really be fine with like a short testing period and like just play the deck.
Yeah, this is one of
Gravy
our
doesn't.
ones.
Gravy does not feel that way because there's just points where you can just punt matches away that like are won because you just like either don't double put a guy out or you don't come in hard enough or you didn't block and just swing the guy. Like there's like these really these moments that like really can throw your games, and it's just like getting to those states and then losing it makes you go, I don't want to do this at Nats. And also, I don't want 50-minute games every single game.
Yeah, you're
Like
sweating.
that. That's the other thing. It's very sweaty to play that deck with like people don't know what's going on and you have to think about it. So you're gonna have limited thinking time. You're just gonna like
be infinite like reading cards and
and you're gonna go to time because the natural winning of the deck takes a million years anyway. Like you're going to like 40 minutes on Talishard. It's like ridiculous.
Okay, wait. This spawns 2 questions in my mind. I'm just curious what y'all's opinions on this stuff is. So the first one is Compass. It's like say you Compass untaps, you end your turn, opponent starts their turn, they do one thing, you go, okay, I'm going to respond with Compass, look at my top card. Say then opponent takes like 6 or 7 more game actions, and then you're like, oh crap, I forgot what my top card is. Do you mind if I look again?
No.
Would you reject or would you let them look again? Because they theoretically should know.
Well,
I
I
would
would
reject.
100% call a judge and be
Yeah, I would
like,
tell
I
them
have
to
no
call a
idea
judge.
what my opponent's allowed to do. You tell me.
Well, like you cannot just look at the top of your deck at any time. So and you can't take notes. So it would be no.
The
You can't do
the
that.
rules say no, which is why
My
I would
response
call
is
a
always
judge.
no, but
Be
feel
nicer
free to call
about
the
it,
judge.
but-
And I encourage
Yep.
Oh,
you to
okay,
do
okay.
so.
I agree with Dan's as well.
There's
I
no
agree.
universe where I just say, yeah, you can just like look at the top card of your deck. Like,
I also
especially
could
because
maybe.
if they
Can
ask
I look at the
that-
top of my
Yeah,
deck?
because if they ask that, they're like, they definitely need to know. Like
They
if
need to
ask
know,
that,
yeah.
they, like it definitely matters too. They're definitely like, oh, I should Gravy. I need to draw blue. Oh, and it's like, no. Rack your brain, motherfucker.
Yeah, if the Compass is untapped, they can look.
Okay. So that's question number 1. So we all agree on that one then. Hell no. Use the brain. What about the second one? So say it's been like another long game and they've like killed a bunch of allies. Do you think you're obliged to say, like, if they say, for example, I've killed 2 chums, right? Like, are you obliged to answer, or is that also something that they should be forced to remember?
That's historical information, which I believe you are not allowed to lie about, but do not have to tell people about. I had this question forever ago, and we asked it to Amanda in Barcelona, and that was the answer I got. I believe that still fits under the same category as historical information, like basically the same type of information as your pitch stack or the cards you pitch, where you can't just like tell your, like, let's say you pitch a card 5 turns later, like your opponent's like, how many of these have you pitched? you're under no obligation to tell them, but I don't think you're allowed to tell them a lie. I don't think you're allowed to say, no, I've only used one chum, and just like have already used 2.
But so if they say, have I killed 2 chums? You're not required to answer if the answer is yes.
I believe you are not required to answer. The answer is at the table. You should call a judge and say, hey, judge, what do I...
My response is
What should
always
I
the
do?
same. Like, I don't think I have to answer that. I don't want to answer that. You can call a judge if you want.
I believe the answer will be that you are not required to say anything and that you are not allowed to lie. But I don't know. The second part especially is hanging me up. It feels like I might also be misremembering that you might be allowed to lie, but I do not believe... I don't believe you're not under any obligation, I believe, to say anything.
I want to ask this then. Why are we not allowed to look at the face down cards? Like, they've done this for 2 heroes now. Like, is it just because they don't want them to get mixed up, or like, is there an actual reason why we're not allowed to look at the cards that are face down?
That's just like a thing in card games. I don't know. You're like never allowed to look at your opponent's face down cards.
Well, in this game,
you're not even allowed to look at your own face down cards. No, you can't.
It says in the rules you can look at your own face downs.
Okay.
That's just like how. There's like a rule in every card game. You can always look at your own face downs, but your opponent can't.
Wait.
I don't know if you can with Gravy.
You can.
Different.
Wait, you can with Levia?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can.
You can with Levia. You can with this hero.
Wait,
You can
no,
always
you
look at your own
can't,
face
right?
down.
No, you can't. You cannot look at the face down of Levia.
Yeah,
you get
you're right.
one
You're
time.
right.
You can't.
No way.
Yeah,
You cannot. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, I don't think you're allowed to.
You're not allowed to.
Okay,
You're definitely not allowed to.
I'm gonna get
For
I'm aligned
verification.
with your theory, Cody.
I played
they don't want you
Leviathan
to,
in an
like,
event, and I remember
up.
asking a judge, and then I always played without looking.
Yep.
So I would imagine that you're probably not allowed to, but that is weird.
You are not
'cause
allowed to.
In most games, you are allowed to look at your own, but not your opponent's.
I don't know if
but
this
no,
applies to, like,
it's probably
Intimidate,
just the
though.
same as the pitch stack thing, where they just like don't want people to have notes on historical information, right? Like you just like shouldn't be allowed to know stuff that isn't currently
We
in
need
play.
to clarify this because like everyone looks at their intimidated card.
You're allowed to do that, I believe.
Yeah. Why can't you look
Are
at
we sure?
Levia ones, man?
Yeah, that's a different.
That's more
I think-
Levia nerfs.
I think it's
in the
treated
banish zone.
differently.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
but it's temporary. It's
No.
not a
Read.
permanent.
I'm reading right now. I'm reading literally the text from the thing. When Watery Grave triggered effect resolves, you must turn that card with Watery Grave face down. Similar to face down cards in the Banish Zone, you can look at face down cards in your graveyard, but your opponents cannot.
Yeah, so it seems like you are just.
So you can always look at your face downs.
We
Well,
just never play Leviathan.
someone-
It feels like I've just been playing with.
No. Someone should tell the Levia players
Yeah.
because they quite often I've played against several that are just like I'm not.
It's-
You can't look
Cody,
at these.
do
They
you
just set
know
them off to
why?
the side.
Cody, do you know why? It's because Talishar doesn't let you look at them, so everybody just plays IRL and assumes that
don't
they can't
know.
look at them. Like seriously, that
I
is
think we're
absolutely
misinformed.
why. It's because nobody has ever checked the rules or asked a judge. Everybody has always just assumed Talishar is right.
Well, then why can't your opponents look at them?
Because
but why
that's
are only
the
you
thing
allowed
in
to?
every
Card
game.
games work, bro. I
That's
can't
the
just
thing
look
in
at your arsenal. What do you like? It's face down.
But it's
That's
in the
down.
graveyard face. It's down. It's a different location.
But face
Different
down is
locations
always
have different
face down.
rules.
face down is face down. That's
Yeah,
I mean,
face
that
down.
just
Face
seems like
down
an
is
arbitrary. That seems like an arbitrary rule.
Face down is face down.
you can
Yeah,
argue
you
it's
can't
arbitrary,
tax.
but it's
No,
intended.
regardless of the location.
You asked why. It is at least intended to say like
You can't like look at your opponent's cloaked equipment, but you can look
That's
at
like
your
if
own.
you activate a Zuri and banish face down, and your opponent's like looks at it.
Yeah,
That's absurd.
yeah. Like what?
No. Again, I understand why you can't look at those things. Obviously, this is like you guys are being really facetious, and it's like that's
Not even
obviously
that
that's the case.
Like,
I'm really-
not
I
even
really
that,
wanna
like,
know, though.
Or there is a window where that is the same as a Watery Grave card. Like there is.
No,
a
it's
window where
not
that's the
because
same.
the Watery Grave card was resolved and can never be resolved again. Like it's currently just like this is a dead card in the game.
Oh, sure. You're saying because at one point it was known,
Yes,
but that's the same with like
That's
your
the same
pitch
as the Levia ones.
like your pitch stack was at one point known. It's historical information. At one point it was known, and now it's not known again. You are supposed to remember information that was at one point known.
sure, but you can't look at your own pitch stack. So why are you allowed to look at the face down and your opponent can't?
Because it's a
Because
zone that you control in the
Yeah.
arena instead of a zone you control in your
We
deck.
gotta have a judge guest, I think. At some
I
point.
just answered
just-
all the questions.
But it seems
That's
silly.
why.
Like it's just
Sure, you just asked why, man. I don't know. Like you can.
you just keep telling me how the function is, but I don't understand why you
It's because
can't.
it's
Like
face down, and face down is face down.
No, it's because
Okay.
Cody. It's because when something is in the deck, it shouldn't
know
like
either.
you shouldn't be allowed to look at it. When something is in the arena under your control, it makes
Yeah.
more sense practically from like a logistical standpoint to allow players to always be able to look at cards in the arena under their control.
I think Cody's point is that graveyard's like public information, right?
Well, but my
Yes.
point is, it's something in the arena on your side, and so from a like tournament, even just from like a TO perspective or like a judge perspective, just like you should only be allowed to look at cards on your own side of the table. Like if
I
your
think
opponent
also,
wants to see something on your side of the table, they should have to ask you.
we also currently have no way to interact with face downs, like you said.
Yeah.
So I think maybe one of the reasons why the opponent can't look is because it'll just never matter. Like it'll never be relevant because you can never interact with the face down. But you could like remembrance back in action, so you should be able to see what actions they have, right? You could use that new hat to get back a blue, so you should like be able to see
So-
their blues.
I guess that can make sense. I can
Yeah.
accept that. Like, so if we ever get a way to interact with the face down, then all of a sudden you have to be able to look at
Yeah,
it.
exactly. I think you
Yeah.
should be able
Just
to
like how-
here's the way.
Just like how you don't have a reaction step when you swing with an ally, and now you suddenly have a reaction step when
Yeah,
you swing
of
with an
course,
ally. We'll just change all of the rules of the game
Yeah.
instead.
Basically, once it becomes relevant, we just change the rules so that way it's all good.
Yeah.
I honestly don't
That-
hate that solution, by the way. Like we're joking, but like
Yeah.
at least make the rules consistent with the cards.
Yeah, I actually really don't mind consistent rules changes as long as they're not
Yeah.
like overhauling things.
Mhm.
Especially like the react stuff is literally just an addition. Like it doesn't.
Yeah, no, I agree. I just figured they wouldn't change the whole rule set.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, across the whole game because they accidentally misprinted. Like it's like it definitely wasn't intended. They just like forgot their own rules. They retroactively changed it, which I thought was funny. Okay, sure, we can move on. I just wish we had one more week, so I could play Gravy Bones because while there is a small possibility I just audible into it anyway, more than likely I will be disciplined and not do the thing. Just because mainly it's time, to be fair. Mainly it's just like spend 50 minutes every round trying to hope my opponent goes fast enough and that I can figure it out.
Well,
when I don't have a lot of
the
reps.
other main consideration is that tomorrow you'll be in Las Vegas. So like surely that's
No, well, I guess technically tomorrow from when this is released, I will be in
like
Las Vegas.
yeah, surely that's also got to be a pretty big consideration.
Yeah, but then you're going to see all the cards in person. They're going to look so nice. You're
No,
going to be like,
absolutely, yeah.
why are these not in my deck box, dude? Come on.
I don't know. I'm like really excited to play decks post the event.
Me too.
Like
Yeah, I'm
I
super
want to
excited
play
after that.
Puffin. Yep, I want to play Puffin. I want to play Gravy, like a lot.
I want to play Red
Nationals.
Spine Manta Marlin.
Oh my god, dude, you were
Sure.
a Cannon believer. Now you're going back to bad weapons because Cannon's good.
I just like weapons that are unique.
Like the cannon.
Yeah, I
so
like
you
it.
chose
No, I
the one
like
that
new
literally
ones.
has the exact same card already printed. Okay.
I just find
And the
I just
bird.
find new ones.
Got it. Makes
Mhm.
sense. Okay. Anything else about product shortage or I guess rules of the game or the,
I mean,
the new
Puffin's cool
decks?
too. We didn't really talk
Yeah,
about
Puffin's great.
Oh yeah, we should
I-
probably talk about.
Yeah, we should
Didn't
talk
we
about
only
that.
get
Yeah,
to
yeah,
two of the heroes?
Oh, dude, we
The one
Oh,
everyone
like
forgets
Red Spine.
about.
But yeah,
I did a Puffin rant last week about how the deck's really good.
Yeah, I mean the hero's clearly
Oh, these
pretty
power cards
sweet.
are
I mean we
crazy.
yeah, like we've seen it on Talishar. I think most people have queued into at least some number of Puffin decks that are pretty good. All of the cog like tap 3 cogs cards are just clearly broken. Her hero ability says draw a card, so good stuff.
On both sides, on
Yep.
either side of the
On
game.
Either player's turn. You have good equipment. You have a above rate weapon. What more could you want? You got
Yeah.
pirate cards if you want them.
you got opponents not understanding what to do.
Yeah.
Also,
Also,
people like I attack with like a Zeppelin, and they just like don't block. I'm like, all right, well I guess I just crank and shoot my gun for free now. It's just like
Yeah.
you just let boom grenade hit for no reason.
well, there's also like she just has like power cards also at like every piece of her deck. Like she has powerful blues, she has powerful reds, she has powerful block cards like Golden Sky Warden, and Sunken Treasure potentially if you want to play that card. Like you have powerful aggressive cards, you have powerful defensive cards, powerful equipments. Like you have flexible
really
power
like it.
cards.
I thought her equipment sucks.
I actually think her equipment is pretty good at being aggro equipment because you can use it all for good value pretty quickly, and it's pretty flexible as well. Like, and it blocks and gives you offensive value at the same time, which I think
It's
for
all adaptive plating and it's actually good art equipment.
yeah, that's like
But
you.
that's not what Lucas is saying. That's all defensive.
Well, I'm just
Well,
saying you could. That is an option. You could just have all adaptive plating
Yeah.
and you have like infinite armor.
That's like you have the option of like either just having a bunch of armor that blocks, or a bunch of armor that goes on offense, or you can do just like both.
Dude, I want to see someone load up with just 4 adaptive plating. Just
I think 3 is maybe reasonable. I think probably
I think 3
2
is actually reasonable.
I think
3 and
2
then you
is-
have your arms
I
still.
think 2 is like the real max, because like surely Crown of Providence and the Cogworks arms are just like always better baseline.
Yeah.
But it is possible that adaptive plating is.
I mean, if you're gonna run adaptive plating chess, like surely you just play Foundry Heart. Like,
Yeah,
come on.
agreed.
I think there's some matchups where it actually might be better to have a 3 block. If like the only on hits you could care about are like CNC. I could see universes where like you'd rather just have like Carrion Husk.
But the thing is, like, if you're sacking, I don't know, we're getting in the weeds on Puffin, but whatever. If you're like sacking your thing to the adaptive plating, you want to play like a lot of soups and a lot of the galvanized +2s. So like I think the 2 and 4 would actually work out pretty well
I
because
see
you're still
that.
getting the galvanized value.
I can see that.
Yeah, look at this buffing deck building in real time.
When because then the second block blocks with plating and the arms and trigger. Yeah.
Hmm.
No, I think it's good. I can't wait to put some time into Puffin. I think the deck is definitely good.
Mhm.
And you have giant ship boats that are great. We didn't even talk about all the ship boats.
Yes. I mean, there's like one, right? It's like
Yeah,
CNC.
one, but
No, 2 of them are
Yeah.
insane. 1 for 7 go again is nothing. So is 2 card 12.
Oh, sorry. I thought you
Yeah.
meant pirate boats. I was the
Oh,
tap and
no,
cog
no.
cards are all broken. Yeah, Dovetail and
Pirate
the Steal
mech
Your
boats.
Guys one and
Yeah,
Palantir. Fucking oh my god, Palantir.
yeah.
It's like
I
the
love.
biggest
I
thing in the
also.
news, and it's the biggest thing in Flesh and Blood. Like it's insane.
I love the one that untaps all your cogs because the amount of times I have 2 cogs up, and then I swing and they block and I tap both of them for +1, and then it hits and then it untaps and then I tap 1 for go again and I go nice.
Mhm.
That
I'm
card's
like,
insane.
it's like the one time where the change of rules of how go again works. It's just like
Yeah, that card is so crazy. The
Yeah.
also the item one is like it's normally kind of whatever, but there are like random spots where I've seen it just be like completely unreasonable. Like you can just play into like Wizard, and you just like put that card on the table. Like I saw a game online that one of my friends was showing me where like it was Kano v Puffin, and like the Kano drew like a poopy all red hand, so he just like had to block, but he had like 2 E-pots, a D-pot, and one of the Op2 pots in play. And his opponent just like jolly bludgered, and he was like, tap a cog, 5 overpower. With like 2 cards in hand, because he was like pissed about it. He was like molding in chat, and then just like wins in the game because he just like can't go off in response, and he just dies because he gets all his items. But he just scooped, he left. So, but I mean, yeah, Aeronaut's also just like the best card, maybe in the game right now, right? Like that card is. I think it's kind of up there with some of those Felling kind of cards. Obviously, it's different, right? It's not just like a raw value machine like Codex or Felling, but the fact that this aggro deck has this finisher that can be like 2 for 9 value that either like blows up an equipment or is T-bone that is also for like.
I think it's kind of
13.
fake to say that though. Like if you're playing it the aggro style, that's assuming that you haven't tapped any cogs to like play the game earlier on.
Mhm. Yeah, it's not always gonna like max out value, but I think just the value of the card by itself, even though you're working quite hard for it, like it's like in addition to just being like a win con in some matchups, because there are some matchups where you just like resolve 3 aeronauts for kill 3 equipment, and it's just like broken that you just blow out their guys.
I guess, yeah. If you resolve 3 Fellings for 8 plus them losing a card, you're probably also winning.
I think it's different though, because it's not just like a value thing, right? It's not just making a bunch of good value plays. It's also this kind of tool for aggro decks where you can like actually get value throughout the
You
game.
keep saying aggro decks, like, bruh, if I made 3 cogs and then swung this 2 for 8, that's like not very aggro. That's clearly a lot of setup.
Proactive deck, I should say.
Yeah.
A deck that is trying to do stuff to your opponent. Just having.
I don't know, when you blow up a grasp, it
Very
feels great.
Yeah, like when you take away their armor agency
no.
in a deck that potentially has like.
Don't put that out in the world, man. When are they ever blowing up a grasp?
When I was testing Puffin, that was
Yeah.
that was how you win.
The first one I give him my shoes and then I sack it off the chain. The second one I give him my hat and then I get the value. And then I just hope they die before the third one.
It's just like so many assumptions. Literally like a not that reasonable assumption 3 times in a row. Like, oh.
How is that not reasonable? That's so reasonable. I just like
It's
What
just
else
like,
do I care about?
you just like haven't always put 4 Earth cards in play by the time they play the first one. You just like can't always face perk the second one, and like
Well, I can
sometimes they
invert that.
just
I can
resolve
invert the
through.
order. I
You're
can
just
face
playing
perk the
like a
first
deck
one.
that plays slow as shit. Like sometimes they're gonna resolve 3, and their deck that draws a card every turn. Like what are we talking about? It's
No,
just
you can invert the order,
actually
man.
just 3 troll statements. Like yeah, it happens sometimes, but
No,
What
it's
do you
not
mean?
like a repeatable game.
hear my words, bro. You can face perk the first one, and then I'll have 4 in banish by the time they play a second one.
Sure. So
all,
sometimes
all of this is fine. You're forgetting one thing. They
Oh,
can
no.
just pick it up from the grave.
No, they got it back.
Yeah,
That's
they
true.
just get it back.
Backup protocol is pretty messed up.
Backup protocol is great in that deck.
True.
Because you draw a card off when you
I'll
play
play
it.
my
You like play a
Grave
card, draw a
Seeking
card.
Flame strategy. That'll show them.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Then you just play the fourth one. And you're like, gotcha.
Oh yeah, the fourth one. That's
The fourth one.
I'm owned.
I mean, that matchup is so long that you will
They'll
typically
steal
go to
my
the fourth
compass,
one.
dude. What will I ever do?
Goodness. Okay. Anything else before we go to some podcast questions? Nope.
Bro, people said we need to do longer podcasts. This one's gonna be shorter. What are we
No,
doing?
Well,
no,
we
we'll-
got
we'll-
we got a
Stuff like
test.
that, man.
We just want to see how it does.
Do-
Email us, that's not us.
we have testing to do.
Yep.
With that said, if you're at nationals, feel free to come by and say hello to any of us. We will definitely appreciate it. Because I don't know about you guys, but I'm not taking this event super seriously. I mean, obviously I am testing wise, I've been putting in as much time as I can, but realistically I can't be 100% prep for the event. So it's just like, I'm just picking a deck. The meta kind of sucks right now because everything just like loses to a bunch of stuff in the meta. You're hoping you just don't run into it. And I'm just going to go do my best. So feel free to come up and talk to us. That was my point, is that I don't think I'm going to be as uptight as I normally am at other events where I'm like focused. I'm just like, this is just
I
a
actually don't
national
anticipate
event.
this at all. I anticipate that whatever deck you're gonna play, you're gonna have like a CC loss, and it's gonna like piss you off because you didn't play some other deck that just like auto beats whatever deck you lose to.
Well, that's I've already done this circle, man. It's just like, oh, I should play this, and then I go, oh, it loses to this. Oh, I'll play this because it beats that. Oh,
You
it
just, like,
loses to this, and then you
you-
just keep going back around in the circle.
You just like come pre-molded, so it doesn't like
Yeah.
affect you as bad the day of.
No, I'm just like, I just accepted that I'm not going to beat myself up as badly if it goes poorly because I can only be so prepped, and I'm in the state of moving at the same time. So like, I would have liked to practice this weekend, but I was buying a washer and dryer, so it's like, you know, like I got to do the adult things at the same time.
Mm.
It does make me excited for like Singapore. Like the limited format makes me want to go to Singapore infinitely more
Mhm.
than I did previously.
And they'll be totally new, right? There'll be like a bunch of heroes LL'd.
Yes.
Yep.
Uh,
Azalea will be gone. New will be gone. Maybe Kane.
Sweet.
Nice.
Okay.
Look at you.
Let's jump into podcast questions. These are asked by members of our Metafy community. If you'd like to be able to ask questions on the podcast, find people to practice with, or send us VODs for us to review is also acceptable. Ask us any questions. I know some of you guys do that every day, which is always appreciated. Feel free to join in the link below. Until the end of June, you can get your first month on Metafy for free. After June, no more free month. So take advantage of it while you got a chance. Cool. First question here from Renzo. He says, this week, no command, but a question. What are the 5 decks you should be prepped for at Nats?
He's not commanding us, but he's still asking us for the secret sauce.
I mean, I think this is pretty obvious.
That's a
Right?
great question.
Yeah,
That's a good question.
This is a good one. I mean,
Florian,
Florian, Azalea,
Prism.
Assassins,
Assassin.
just up high assassins.
Yeah, Prism and Gravy.
Yeah, Prism Gravy.
Yeah, I think
Wizard.
if you want to like extend that a little bit, there's like Verdance.
And Verdance is gonna be in
Puffin.
there.
In this meta,
Yeah.
you need to be prepped for like 10 decks.
Yeah, I think it's like Verdance, Puffin,
Wizards,
Kano.
Ninja.
Yeah, Draconic Heroes.
Oh no.
I think
You
there's
kinda
three
have
of
to-
them.
For it all.
You kind of have to lump them. So it's just like you have like Florian, then you have Azalea, and then you start lumping like Assassin,
Draconic
Ninja,
Heroes, yeah.
Wizard, and then you're like
Right. And then Prism.
that's kind of the and then there's a bunch of
Gravy
other things,
Bones.
but that's like the main 5, I think, that you got to be prepped for.
I would prep a little bit for Gravy though.
You
You can
definitely
have a
should
bad
prep
time
for
if you
Gravy.
don't.
Yeah.
Mhm.
If you've been playing on Talishar, I'm sure you've prepped. It's just like endless
That's fair.
Gravy Bones availability for games. Sigma asks, Puffin seems primed to spotlight. Thoughts on the hero's strong and weak points? Does CNC, funny, fit or synergize enough with the deck here to be considered. The C in C is they're talking about the Conquer.
Yeah, so that's CNSEA.
SEA, yeah.
I think a lot of people put OG, CNC, and decks that probably shouldn't play it. But I think the new ship, you should probably figure out how to play it in every pirate deck that you play because it's that good.
Yeah, I think one thing as well that people forget about that card is that card is pretty reasonable as just like 4 for 7 CNC. So even if you're not a deck that always turns it on, that is like a okay mode a lot of the time. And
I think a lot of Puffin decks play Tunic as well, right? So it could just
Well,
be 2 cards, 7.
The question
right
is,
near
are
yourself.
you boosting or not? That's actually what he's asking. The only
Well,
reason you wouldn't include it is if you're heavy boost.
I think that's a bit more of like a deeper question. I think the easy answer is that Conqueror is basically always going to be a powerful card, and you should be looking for reasons to include it in your deck instead of reasons to take it out. So like maybe you do end on a build that doesn't play it, like maybe you're boosting, you're not going to play it, but it is very powerful. So it is like
I think the best build of the deck probably
thing to be
includes the
getting.
card.
Yeah, I agree. I think the
What
best
do you
build
think,
will include it in some capacity.
And I think we talked about the strong and weak points of the hero. I don't know if we
Yep,
touched
yep.
on the weak points.
Not enough.
The weak points are that you just like fall apart in the mid game. Like sometimes,
Yeah.
sometimes you just run out of cogs and you're just like, oh, I guess I don't do anything.
Which I think is where
and
boost comes
specifically
in.
because
Like
she's
function,
like
right?
yeah.
What was that, Dan?
That's where boost comes in to always be functional.
Yes.
Yep. The biggest weaknesses from like just like a fundamental kit perspective is that since a lot of her most powerful, basically all of her most powerful plays either require cogs to already be in play or require you to defend, which means that if you don't attack her when she is out of cogs, she can really struggle because she can't use her arms, she can't use potential Crown of Providence, she can't use all the 2-block galvanized cards, she can't use.
I think it's like a fundamental too, where typically your most powerful turns is when you have a bunch of cogs, right?
Mhm.
And then the opponent's like, okay, I want to block because like this is a really big turn, so I'm just going to block.
Mhm.
And then you draw Golden Sky Warden.
Yeah.
You have like 4 golden cogs. You're like, all right, I'm lit. And they're just like,
Back for
all right,
7.
Arsenal pass.
Yep. I agree. I think she is fundamentally weak on the attack block axis is probably her
Mhm.
biggest weakness, is that she plays on turn, off turn very naturally, and that is an exceedingly exploitable game plan. It's actually like one of the most historically exploited game plans. It's super easy to beat decks that go on and off because you just block and then attack. You just like play flexible decks that can do both things. Like
Yeah, it's like
Florian.
I think it's
that,
funny
like,
because
reverse sine wave thing.
Yeah,
Go
exactly.
ahead, man.
yeah, but both boost cards and Conqueror are great for addressing this issue.
Yes, agree.
They both take
I do
really
think
good
there are a lot of ways to build the deck to fix these issues, but fundamentally those are I think Puffin's biggest.
But it's hard to find that in 2 weeks, which is I think what we're mentioning. I think it's possible that there's a build out there that minimizes a lot of these issues.
Yeah.
Wardo77 asks, you sit down at Nationals for the start of draft, crack your first pack, and there is a sexy scurv staring back at ye. Do you go for it? Yeah, every time.
Of course.
Oh,
are we
not
allowed
even
to
a
answer this
question.
bro?
Not even a
Yeah, of
question.
course.
Yeah,
You see scurv in pack 1, pick
I've won
one.
the draft.
Yeah.
Let's go.
it's normally pretty easy. I think that there is a little bit more nuance. I think that there is technically probably like some pack textures where it actually makes more sense to send it. But yeah, you probably just take this curve.
What if you see Curve and Conqueror?
Oh,
What are you doing? I'm taking the shit, bro.
I would probably
you
take the
can, you can
Conqueror.
get the nipple?
Yeah, I would probably take
I'm
the Conqueror.
scaring all day.
No way, man.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, I do like money. I don't know.
The thing is that when you play Scurv, you basically give up like every power card for every class card that you ever see. It's like you just like don't get any good class cards anymore. You don't get as many blue 3 blocks. You don't get any filler. Like your filler's not as good. Like you literally just have
That's not
fewer
always
cards
true.
than everyone else. So even though you are getting like probably a better hero ability and probably the best weapon, like you are legitimately giving up quite a bit. So I do think there is some nuance where like Scurv is ultimately just a card that you're taking over another card to increase your win rate. So there are probably other cards where if you just like take other cards and play a different hero, your win rate will be higher than if you didn't have that card and played Scurv.
Yeah, but like one of these starts in play and has huge impact.
Yes, agree. I mean, I think it's probably one of the most powerful.
I mean, I think everything you said is accurate, except this is starting on first pick.
yeah, you
so it's
should
like,
just take the Scurv.
you
Is the
should
easy
just-
answer.
yeah.
That's the easy answer. Yeah, you should take the Scurv.
But if you're sitting next to me and you would like to pass me the Scurv instead of picking it, I will accept the Scurv.
Take
My
money
my
card.
first high seas draft, I did get a pack 1, pick 2 Scurv, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, nice.
If you would like to default out of the Scurv life and pass it to me, I will not complain.
Yeah, if you just don't get it, I'll get it.
Arms person asks, how many drafts do you think you'll get to play locally before product runs out?
I'll be happy to
Zero.
get one more in.
You got arms dealers in the chat. What is this?
We know we have arms person in the chat.
Oh, I see.
I will be not home for the next like 2.5 weeks, so I will probably never play another in-person high seas draft until Singapore after Vegas.
I don't really have locals that run
me
drafts,
neither.
so I don't really get to
Yeah, we
draft
went
in
for like
person
3
ever.
weeks and then we switched.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a sad answer. Basically, no, or I don't know.
He Who Smites asks, where do you rank Arcane Compliance versus Oasis versus Seeds as a Kano tech?
Oasis,
Yep, number 1.
arcane compliance.
Mm-hmm.
Get a shovel, start digging into the earth, and then that's where you'll find the seeds.
Correct.
I don't think
So
it,
you can remove like 3 feet of dirt if you start with Plume of Evergrowth in play from seeds.
Sure.
But
But you're
otherwise,
definitely still touching grass with the
otherwise,
seeds.
yeah. I think it's just that like Oasis is the best. Compliance is also pretty good, but like some decks can't play Oasis and can play Compliance. Is I think the difference. It's
yeah,
just
that's what I was
like
gonna say. I think in like red line lists, compliance goes up quite a lot.
yeah, like some decks just can't actually play Oasis, but they can play Compliance, and Compliance is still pretty good.
Yeah,
Seeds
like
I
you
mean-
can play AB0 and like
Shit.
beat Kano just from having compliance at the right time.
You cannot.
No, you can.
You can.
Because they just
How?
you present lethal on turn 2 or 3.
Yeah, you just blank
They're
the
forced to
floodgates.
go for a floodgates combo,
Yeah,
and then you just stuff the floodgates and win.
Yeah, that's if they need the floodgates to win.
Yeah, but you're
The
basically
only
making
time they
a
don't is
short
when they have
game, though,
lessons
like-
in Lava,
Yeah.
which
Sure.
is like
If
That's-
Kano was
pretty
anywhere
rare.
near as
And enough
if Kano was
resources to do
anywhere
lessons
near
on it.
consistent enough to like beat people on turn 3 through just not resolving a floodgates, we would all be playing Kano. Like
I mean, I agree. It's just like almost no decks get to do any of the things that you're mentioning. Like almost no decks put a clock on him on 3.
I'm not saying you need to, but like now you can just be Syndra and just have your
I
spell
think
2
Syndra and
daggers and you're
Azalea
like
both
so
can.
protected.
yeah,
Yeah, I agree. The daggers with in conjunction,
Yeah.
I can agree
Yeah.
with.
But
Yeah.
if like you can't afford to play AB, that's when this card is at its best. That's all I'm trying to say. This is
Yeah.
like strictly better than Oasis for those types of decks.
Yeah, you still need like some other things, and like you have to be very fast, or you have to be,
Correct. You need a fast
and you have to have like spell void.
yeah. I
Don't
think
have
the easiest like answer to the question is that you should follow Noah's ranking. You should
Mhm.
just only play the ones that like are reasonable to play. Like
Mhm.
you're playing Syndra, don't play Oasis Respite.
Mhm.
Like, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
Or have a new Syndra build that has blues, and then
Yeah,
play
yeah.
Oasis Respite
And then still probably just play Arcane Compliance because it's
They probably still play compliance. Yeah.
Yeah.
with the new dagger. Yeah.
The other thing is that Compliance is better against Verdance combos as well. If you're like worried
Yes,
about
it
that.
is.
But
I assume it works on Azalea too. Like he'd be stacking to like 12 sometimes.
Both him and
it's-
Verdance,
they-
it's like you're
it's
flipping a
good
coin.
against Cecilio, but they literally just printed the counterplay, so it's like kind of like it's good, except if they just have the new shot card, then it just doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's like the same with Verdance, right? Where they could just shoot you for like 25 arcane off of a ping. They
So
don't have
the difference with Verdance is that Compliance doesn't stop. I mean, it does stop the amp, but it's against a good player. It's never going to stop a combo that is just like amp a bunch, do a spell. It's just against Surgeon Aethertide when they go
Yeah, I
Aethertide
agree.
for like 20 or 30 or whatever, and you're like maybe able to beat them even like you go into the turn at 40, they would 60 you. Compliance can gain you just like a shit ton of life and make you live there.
That's
But yeah, I
true.
agree. They should always be able to play around it if it's just like a pulsing Aether line or whatever. If they play into that, that's on them.
I
Or they're not
think
done yet.
I think compliance is good. I think compliance is claim that it beats Kano is
Yeah,
overblown.
it's not like a one size fits all.
It is. It is not. It is not snag. For everyone who's ever said this is snag
It's not
for
snag.
Kano, it is not snag.
You're just interjecting more variants into a matchup that's just giga variants anyway. But now there's more variants from your POV.
I mean, I think it definitely have home in, like, if you're trying to play a slow deck and they're like trying to stack you, you might use it in like counter stack strategy if you really need to. But normally you just went double Oasis anyway. But I think it is possible that we see it in the future be relevant, especially against Verdance in that type of situation.
I also think against Cecilio it is relevant. Like they do have very natural counterplay now, but it is just like a super high value card at blue when it does.
Yeah, as long as your deck can just use random jank blue throughout the course of the game when they're not comboing you.
Yeah.
Yep. No, I'm happy it's printed. Just everyone saw it and was like, "Oh, Kano's dead," and then it was like, "Wait, hold on a second. It's not how this works." Millen asks, "Who do you think is the worst hero at the moment and why?" It's like Teklo, right?
Arachne Huntsman.
No, Huntsman has Codex of Frailty.
Can't Teklo at least like beat some slow decks?
Oh, sure. It's not the hero with the least reason to play it. It's the actual worst hero.
Yeah.
Probably Olympia.
No, he might be better now that he has the gold on
That's
demand.
not saving him, man.
You make more gold. I don't know. Max might be a contender.
Yeah,
still play the song though.
I would say probably Max. I think Max is the hero that without high octane, you might legitimately not have a matchup that is actually good if your opponent knows what they're doing. Like it might be close.
Yeah, he's just still high roll aggro sometimes when you make this.
Yeah, didn't
he's
the
also,
armory deck come out and Max's win rate go down?
Yeah, by like a lot because people tried to play Max. Like, yeah. The other thing is like they just made like literally just like exactly what Max is supposed to be, where he's the like mid-range boost part of Dash IE in Bright Lights, because that's what like Bright Lights was all the different parts of Dash IE, and they just like made a better one. Like they just made Puffin. Like why would you ever play Max when they made like a new Max with like an extra class and that draws a card? Like, come on now.
But it's not about why would you play. Like Max at least can high roll, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like what is an Olympia high roll? You made some gold off of up the ante. Okay. Like you actually just like you could stack your deck and probably still be bad.
I think Olympia has Dynamo at the very least, which is like already something. But you can also definitely high roll with Olympia, where you like theoretically, surely I think there's a build where you can just make some amount of gold early and then do some crazy stuff with the anvil. Like at the very least, you can play the stupid like hardened cross strap Goliath Gauntlet deck, and like that deck actually is pretty high value when it just like does the thing. It's just like really stupid.
Maybe the answer is Florian, bro. Florian.
Oh wait, surely it's Arachne. What are we talking about?
It's not Arachne.
Really?
Really? He has Codex and he has good cards. Like, so there's no reason to play him.
I think because you could just play. Well, I think, yeah, that's probably true. But it's pretty sus.
Oh, it has to be like what? It has to be Betsy or Max or.
No, yeah. I'm good. Max. It's Max. It's not.
This is Bravo, man. What are we saying?
No, it's
no.
Bravo wins games against people. No, I think Max is the biggest example because I think most of the other heroes at least can like hide behind a class and just like beat a bunch of matchups randomly. Like they just like are in a class where you could just like play a bunch of Guardian cards and just like beat certain decks a reasonable amount of the time. But like Max, legitimately, I just like don't think has the tools to like beat anyone. Like that hero is just so bad.
Not bad.
Yeah.
But he has all those new cards from the armory.
No.
Oh.
No, he doesn't. No, there were no new cards printed for Max Nitro in 2024.
There were. He just got worse when you try to play him.
The Machine maybe was the best card.
He tried to be a wrench boy, and he's worse with wrenches.
Max Nitro can play. He's been printed this year.
Jacob asks, what tips would you give for someone that wants to practice and then play a new hero for an event? What stuff is the best use of time and what is not worth worrying about? Well, we're all in this boat right now, at least people who are practicing for the new event with the new heroes. I don't know. I'm not playing a new hero. I decided that it was too hard to learn this short of time for a new hero, and I'm defaulting to something I've played at least some amount of time before.
Yeah, I think none of us have a great answer for this because we would have just done it.
Yeah, I would just say the worst use of your time is changing your mind. Like if you're gonna do it, just do it, man.
Yeah,
Don't
send it.
Yeah,
Send it.
yeah.
Do
don't,
not
don't
do
consider
not
other
look
heroes
back.
because then you're not going back.
Yeah, I think in general, a good use of time as well is to like really hammer down what you want your core strategy to be,
Mhm.
and then like before even devoting any time. There was the video that Max Deekman put out. I forget the channel. I think it was on Push the Point. But yeah, he just like talked about his deck building process for Gravy, of like how he started with like the core cards before even contemplating putting in generic cards to like supplement the deck. Just like what are the core cards that make this new hero strong. Um, so I think like the best use of your time is basically just figuring out that, really like, jiving with your hero, understanding what they do to win games as like part of their core engine, and then after that you start looking into supplementary things to smooth out the turns when you can't do what you want to do because there's not enough cards that have been printed in the card pool to let you do it, or if you need more blues or defensive cards because you find that you're losing to bricking or losing to getting run over. But I think just kind of like that sequencing will lead to success. And also don't worry about like making your sideboard guide for Max and Teklo and uh, Dash IE and stuff like that. It's just like whatever. Don't use time on heroes you're not going to play at the major.
Yeah. I think commit is the number one thing though.
Yeah.
Like if this question is specifically saying like you're trying to learn Gravy Bones, for example, for nationals and you're going to do it, then like commit on day one that you possibly can and just do it is the best thing you can possibly do. If it's just more in general, like you're trying to learn a new hero for an event in general, then that's a different skill. Cause like if you're just trying to learn the hero, that's like you can get resources to help you do that. If you're trying to create the hero to be a deck and learn it at the same time, there aren't any resources. There aren't like proven resources for you. That's a whole different thing. As well.
I have another thing to add.
Yeah.
Be sure to, when you're playing games, to try to figure stuff out, to be ideally doing that with someone that you can get feedback from. You want to really understand what play patterns felt difficult to interact with from their POV. So that way you can, maybe something felt like it was a bit like clunky or not effective, but your opponent's like, oh no, this is just like, I drew the perfect answer to it. I was like really sweating if I didn't happen to top deck this one card. So I think like getting the feedback from them as to what play patterns felt powerful will then help you narrow in on what you want to build towards.
Like the Sawbones plus Chum play. Like
Mhm.
Gravy Bones were not doing that originally, and then slowly everybody's doing it because you learn quickly that your opponent's like, wow, this sucks. I don't know how to deal with that.
Yep. I agree.
Cool. Mangover asks, what cards would you have loved to see to make this limited set even better? No idea. The set's great. Like I have no notes.
Don't touch
More
it.
allies.
Don't touch
No,
it.
not more allies.
No.
No, like more
I would-
weapons.
Well, don't get started on the gravy weapon, but
Sure.
I think, yeah, I mean, it would have been cool, I guess, if Gravy had a second weapon option that like did something completely different. But alas, it doesn't. I don't think there's anything I particularly care about for limited, but I just wish Marlin got more harpoons. It just sucks that it feels like that's kind of incomplete. I don't think limited needs any more since the majestic ones are already kind of bombs and the rares are like pretty solid. But it would have been nice for CC purposes if she just like had more arrows in her arsenal, pun intended.
Cool. Foul asks, what are your tricks for maintaining helicopter thinking instead of tunnel visioning during tense and high stake games? How do you maintain awareness of your bad unconscious habits to ensure that you don't slip into them? This is a very good question.
Yep.
I think.
And I think it mostly comes from doing proper out of tournament prep, like eating well, sleeping well, so you can stay sharp. Like if I'm tired, that's where I fall into the like tunnel vision trap because I just like can't focus on enough to like find alternative options and like think creatively.
I often find sometimes in high pressure matches, I get like out of body experience. But that is, I think, typically a positive. I've seen it normally as a positive sign. There's like two ways. Sometimes it's bad when it's just like all you can concentrate on is like that you're just sitting there at the game. But I quite often just find that like it's like I'm watching myself play and make good moves, and then I'm just like, yeah, I'm like cruising here, and that like that feeling is like that's when I know I'm like really in the zone.
Yeah, you're staying present.
Right. Yeah. I'm like super present. I'm more present than I think I've ever been.
Yeah.
I like watching
gotta lock
myself
in.
play the game and doing like, yeah, we're making good moves. There's like part of me like cheering me on like while I'm doing the things. Like, I don't know. I don't know if that's like other people have that experience or that's like a normal thing, but I usually find that. And if I'm in that mood, I know I'm doing the right thing. If I'm in the other mode where I'm having an issue, I guess concentrating, that happens occasionally, or tunnel visioning, but that's just like years of practice to get out of it.
Yeah.
Typically it's trying to like make your mind think of something else real quick.
Yeah. I find
To
like
break the
one
cycle.
easy trick is, maybe this doesn't work for everybody, but it works for me, is just to like talk. If I just like talk, not necessarily even talk to my opponent, but just talking to myself, just like, okay, like I like, sit back in the chair, like, get loose for a second, talk like, okay, how am I winning this game? What is going on here? Just like recentering by like literally making physical motions. Ethan always is taking pictures of me where I'm like just stone cold staring, and that's definitely a bad habit I have, where I'm just like literally like frozen in time, just like death staring my opponent. So I definitely like want to this is an area that I can improve at, is just like loosening up, and like Cody said, trying to like look from the third person POV onto my game. So yeah, I think just like remaining mobile in your environment, and like still focusing on what's going on in the game, but like talking through the situation as you perceive it, and trying to like recenter that way.
Some other things are just like if you know you're like tunneling, if you should be able to feel that you're tunneling or you're like having an issue making decisions, you should just do a bunch of things that like pause what you're ever doing, maybe set your hand down, maybe touch the table in a certain way,
Take a
maybe
drink of
look
water.
at something, maybe take a drink of water, maybe pick up something else, like just maybe just talk to your opponent about something, make a joke, do whatever you need to do, but like do something different than what you're currently doing and then go back to it, and it should like that should help. But you should be able to recognize when this is happening, and then you have to work on ways to do that, because I have like these are like part of my technique package anytime I've found myself in that situation.
I think having a
But then-
decision making routine can help a lot too. Like if your routine is to always like check the board state, make sure you know what's like permanent there, what the situation is, and then if you're always like doing the value math on your lines, if you're tunneled on one line, you can just like check the math on all the other lines and see, just to like get your brain starting down other routes. But you have to like, I think we talk about it quite often, but you have to get to the point where you can explain why you're going to make this play that you're tunneling on. And usually when you're tunneling, like you're talking about, you can't explain it. You're just like stuck on it. So that's when you
Yeah.
go to Cody's tips and you just like do something that lets you like think differently.
Well, stretching your neck is actually like a sign of tension relief. Like it's very
Yeah.
a very common thing that people do. So like you can even do that. It's just like you just got to do something that you know helps or
Yeah, you
works.
should hire a massage therapist to follow you while you play.
At
That's the real
People do
tip.
that at the World Series of
At-
Poker.
at poker,
They, like,
yeah.
have the people behind them
Yeah.
like massaging their neck.
No,
as
it's
they're
like for
playing.
sure the real answer.
Yeah, it's OP. We're going to be in Vegas, man. Maybe we can hire some of them to come through.
Ooh.
Probably.
Yeah. Wait, I have
Possible.
one more thing.
Yeah.
Another like hallmark of when I know that I'm tunneling is when in my mind I'm being very negative and complaining that my opponent drew these cards. So I find that that's like a good way to signal to myself, like, okay, why am I angry at this situation? I'm angry because they drew certain cards. Whatever, I can't control that. So then that's when I like start my recentering. That's like another like just like marker that I use for myself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
whenever
Marbles are the
I
best
start
for
doing
me.
that, I kind of give myself the talk. I'm like, Lucas, you're an adult. Like, surely you're not like malding that your opponent like got a little bit lucky in a card game. Like, grow up, just like play the game. Like, come on. So if that's something that helps for you, is just like realizing that it's kind of a ridiculous. You kind of look ridiculous when you're getting salty playing a card game. So like, just like take a chill pill. You're gonna be all right. That's,
Sure. I mean, I also look at it like just I don't know. I just have the different talk than that with myself. It's
Yeah,
just like,
whatever
you're
talk
you're
you need to
you're,
have.
you're gonna win this game. Like things are like terrible,
Oh, yeah.
but you're gonna win this game. Like we don't know the path yet, but like it's gonna happen. So like, what do you have to do right now to help win this game? Because you're still gonna win this. And like sometimes that works, and sometimes you do end up winning out of those spots that you were like molding in. And then sometimes you don't, but you're just like, got unlucky.
You can do like an imaginary. I'm not sure how much our population crosses over with people who play sports, but you can do like an imaginary timeout and like go huddle up in your brain, like discuss the path to victory, and then all hands in and break out, and then go deliver.
No, when I never have that talk with me, that's when I feel like I have my worst tournaments. Like, or when I don't believe myself. Yeah. Like when I start telling myself you're gonna win this game, no, even if this happened, and then like I'm like the other part of me is like, I'm not, man, this isn't gonna work this time, and I'm just like, okay, I'm not winning this game then. Like, Joe asks, how many of the Runaways can Lucas take in a back-to-back 1v1 before he drops? No weapons. He has a day to prepare.
Okay, so I have a day to prepare, and I'm presuming that this means
prep time?
That the Runaways are gathered all together in a space, presumably sedated or something, so that they don't have prep time.
That's definitely going to be a requirement.
Because they can't have prep time.
Because if they have prep time, I'm cooked. Like, let's just be real. My only advantage is that I need these people. Like, I need you guys to have just woken up. You are put into a situation. You are said you're going to fight Lucas. I've had a day to prep for all of you, and we just go. I thought about this one for a while. I think I would probably... It depends on who it is, first of all, obviously. There's some people who I'm just not going to get, no matter how it goes. I'm just not going to... Like, I'm not going to beat Jimmy in a fight. It's not going to happen. Like, there's just no... Like, I don't care how much prep time I have. If I don't have weapons, Jimmy is going to beat me. I think I could probably get through 2 or 3. I think with prep time, probably like half or more of the team I could get through. I think we're a lot of passive people, and probably most people are not as in shape as me. And so I would.
What do you get to prep?
Yeah,
because there's no weapons.
No. So
are we taking roids? Like, what are we doing?
Because it's a
black market steroids.
We're like real people. We're not UFC fighters. In like a real fight situation, if one of you is like just told that you're about to have a fight against some person that you know, and one of you has spent the last 24 hours mentally preparing to beat the shit out of your teammates, and like thinking about like, oh, if I play against Dan, I know he's going to be really nice. So I'm going to run at him at 40 miles an hour and hit him in the face, and then I'm going to tackle him, and then I'm going to make sure, I'm going to say, Dan, I'm so sorry I'm doing this to you, and I'm going to play on his emotions.
Yeah, you got to study more, man.
I think that no matter who it is,
I can't even like use them.
Yeah, I think no matter who it is, after I get through like 2 or 3 people, I'm just gonna gas out, because I think I could have a strategy for a few people, but nobody's gonna just like like, I'm not easily kicking the shit out of anybody on the team. Everyone's gonna at least take some energy, with maybe 1 or 2 exceptions.
Yeah, I would just concede.
So like maybe if I get like lucky gem roulette and I get like a couple people first and second, I think maybe I could go to like 4 or 5.
Also, the arena is really important, because like if there's like an entrance that they're coming out of, and you can like hide on top of the entrance and like drop on them, and like maybe and then keep climbing up and doing it, then like maybe you get some type of...
If I'm allowed to stand above an entrance and they don't know where I am, I think I'm taking everyone out. I think I can legitimately jump on the back of and choke out everyone. If they literally don't know I'm there.
Or something in high school?
No, I mean, I would just practice that.
I mean, maybe not Jimmy. Like,
I have a day to prep. I think I could prep the whole like jump off the balcony onto somebody's back and rear naked choke them, and I could probably get everybody. If I was allowed to have this like completely OP setup every single time, where I'm just like allowed to have the jump on everybody, I think I could get everyone.
I feel like there's definitely some people who would fall on their back and you would still lose. Just by you.
That's probably true. I also think I would get gassed. I don't actually think I could choke out 30 people in a row.
It takes a lot of energy to choke somebody.
Yeah, like you jump on Pat, bro. What if he just stumbles, falls on top of you? You're cooked.
I have a different strategy for Pat. I think I actually don't think
you don't want to reveal this.
I don't think that would be the problematic one. I think I could deal with that. Yeah.
But also, like, what is taking them? Do we have to be aggressive? Like, if you're trying to avoid, can we both just avoid each other indefinitely? And then it's whoever like needs food first. Like, what is the? You know what I mean? Like,
Oh yeah.
who needs?
I probably
Let's get
probably
outside
not so
it.
right there, huh? Yeah. I think I could probably figure out a way to beat most people, but I think getting gassed out would just mean that I'm never getting more than like 2 or 3.
That's actually a really good win con against Lucas because he needs food at
Yeah.
many points throughout the day.
Yeah. No, I would get hangry and then die very quickly.
that's what I meant. Like,
I would just get fed up. Like I would just be like, I'm done with this shit and just go at it. Like, I just be like, whatever, man. 2 or 3 is the answer.
Do you have beef with this person IRL, by the way?
I have no idea who this person is.
Ham asks, would you rather fight 100 meep-sized Betsy's or 1 Betsy-sized meep?
1 meep all day.
1 Betsy-sized meep?
You don't think you could beat 100 meep-sized Betsy's?
I don't think
She's
meeps are
gonna be
that
so.
small,
They're
are they?
all so slow, right?
Yeah, no, like meep-sized Betsy, she still has to move it in normal proportions, right?
Yeah.
So,
There's no way.
She's just gonna be slow.
Yeah,
and
you
Yeah,
then-
but it's
know,
100 of them.
You just kick
Yeah,
them.
but it's just like
Meeps are
kickball
small.
practice. Like they just keep running at you. Just like
Well,
I don't know what the size of a meep is.
It's
What is the
literally-
actual size
it's
of a meep?
kickball practice.
meep
It's
is like a squirrel.
Yeah, it's straight up kickball practice.
Hmm.
Like the Betsy-sized meep is actually like undefeatable. Like that's literally Betsy's like 20
Wait.
foot tall.
Is she?
She looks 20 feet tall.
Oh, I'm picturing like 6 or 7
I'm-
feet tall.
But,
I'm
like,
imagining
you
I'm imagining like an 800-pound squirrel when I think of a Betsy-sized meep.
Well,
And
yeah,
I'm
Yeah,
just
like,
thinking
you know how
there's
I didn't
no
know that's what
way.
you're talking about.
If they maintain that amount of mobility at that size, dude, you're
Well,
toast.
they also maintain their mischief. So
Yeah.
like they like that's not going away. Like,
So you're
we
just
still
saying
gotta
Betsy's
do it.
soft? Is that takeaway?
I just think Betsy is primarily a 40 health hero because of her size. Like if she was meep size, I do not think she'd be a 40 health hero.
Hmm.
I think she'd be a lot easier to deal with. I don't think she's a skilled combatant as her primary strength.
Nidu asks, do you think that they should ban Starvo in Living Legend? I don't think it's fair that 12 heroes have their card pool so it's power restricted because of how one hero abuses them.
Yeah.
When you put it that way,
Yeah, I think they would do hero.
This is the first time I thought about that. I'm just like,
I think they would do hero specific bans before that
Yeah.
happens, but that is kind of crazy. Yeah, it's every guardian, every earth hero, every ice hero, every lightning hero is like legitimately super hindered by Starvo.
Yep.
Crazy.
I don't think they should ban. I don't know. They have to decide what they want to do with Living Legends because like it's not the same format as they originally pitched it, and now it's like a competitive format with like some balancing instead of like a place to just play all your cards and like see what happens. So maybe there's like a Living Legend. Like there's a nut system that's actually play all the broken stuff that nothing's banned in, but who knows?
if they've already banned cards, surely they can ban a hero.
Surely they can.
So, and it's like I think we're getting to a point too where a lot of people have started playing the game after Starvo, so they don't have that like nostalgia factor,
Mhm.
and because it's part of a competitive format now for Worlds, like they should really take any steps necessary to balance it and make it interesting.
And that should be banning Awakening. Should be one of the steps as well. Dude, 1 of Awakening
No, I
is
agree.
almost worse than 3 of Awakening because it's just like,
Well, because
Well-
at least with 1 of Awakening, you have to like pretend that you shouldn't play Starvo.
okay,
But, like with 3
true.
Awakening, you
Yeah,
just, like,
you're not wrong. You're not
Yeah,
wrong.
you have, with 3 Awakening, you have no illusions that you should play anything else. Like you know what's up.
It's just like you're like testing the matchup, and then like 9 of the games make perfect sense, and then 1 of the games they just like Awakening on turn 0, and you're like, what happened here? Like, oh, the game's just over. Cool. Nator asks, do you think there is a competitively viable Marlin deck out there? The Harpoon stuff feels a bit underwhelming to me. It kind of reminds me of Bravo, and her on hits just aren't that punishing. Yes. It just depends how competitive and what the matchups are. No, the combo versions of her decks are very good in isolated games. It's just that like stringing many wins over and over again is like pretty hard because sometimes you just draw the wrong half of your deck. But when the deck draws the right half of the deck is incredibly powerful. Like I've sat down and played against Marlins where they're just like, here's a 30 damage turn. And I was like, that is unfortunate for me, but it just happens sometimes.
Indeed.
Mhm.
It's just most of the time that's not how it works. Then all the other times you play against them, they like draw cards and like, oh, I drew the wrong half of my deck. I will pass now and shoot you with one arrow. It's like, okay.
Yeah, and I think the harpoons are uniquely looking for a format where like Runeblade is the best deck to where both of the king harpoons have text. Because I think the biggest problem is like if you're playing in a deck that doesn't use one of those card types, then you basically only have 3 cards in your deck with any text. It's kind of a meme.
And then against the decks where both of them have text, those decks are also a lot more consistent at like emptying one of the card types out of their hand.
Yeah,
So,
they have
like,
to have like 2 of each type exactly.
There's like no actual matchups where you like they both consistently do something, which is just like
It's just Florian. Florian is the only one because it's like you have a close to 50-50 split
Well,
of.
But even then, it's like it doesn't always do something because, like you said, like sometimes they just only have one non-attack.
Oh, for sure, yeah. I'm only talking about being salty of it happening to me, but objectively, it shouldn't happen all the time. I agree.
Also, most of the time, if you take a non-attack away from Florian, it's like whatever.
It's more about the fact that they're getting like multiple gold off of it because they're getting their hook,
yeah.
and it's like it's just annoying.
I have been in like Marlin loops, like harpoon loops that were like really hard to deal with because they're just like, here's 13 and I take a card from you. You can't punch back. You can't really block. And I'm just like, oh, this is kind of hard to deal with.
Yeah, and then they get like 2 to 3 gold off of the back, so they're like consistent for the next turns too.
Yep. Big Hungry asks, High Seas is old news now. What do you believe the classes and if any talents will be in the next full set?
Probably Savage Lands, right? So Brute.
I just haven't put any thought into it, honestly.
No.
Yeah, no thought.
The set's still way too new.
There's no room in my head to think about those things.
It's
Especially
probably,
since Singapore is the same format. Like I just am not going to care until after that.
Yeah, it's going to be like Brute and probably like a new Necromancer. I would think a new Necromancer as well.
Yeah,
those would be.
And new Runeblade, right? Because like otherwise there'll be basically 0 Runeblades.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Spiff asks, have any of you played Katsu with the unban yet? What is the highest point turn that you have done? Any other highlights or lowlights? I played some Katsu. I think the deck's good. Like, I've done like, it just consistently does like 20 to 30 damage turn every game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and the lines are like really hard to think about as well because of
Retrace.
Retrace is awesome with bonds and retrace. You get to do like so many cool things. I think the deck's actually pretty good. I wouldn't be surprised if like someone does a run at nationals with Katsu. It's hard to play against for a lot of decks. The main issue is that like you can stop them on 99% of the turns, and then since they're just like this big ball of energy like ready to go, if you just miss or they just have like a counter to whatever you were trying to block one turn, they all of a sudden can take like a big 20 damage chunk out of your life, and then you have to deal with Kodachis for the rest of the game, and it's like rather annoying.
Yeah, I think the biggest like strength would be when you do the big pop off turn. There's nothing really stopping you from doing it again because usually your opponent's like blocking their whole hand because they thought they could stop it. You have some like trickery or just drawing the nuts to get over it, so they're not really coming back at you with anything, and then you can just have another big turn.
It's just that you have like some number of equipments that are only usable one time, right? It's like you have Breeze Rider, Breaking Scale, potentially Pouncing Links.
It's pretty much always Pouncing Links now.
Yeah, but I'm saying like
potentially Cross Trap as well.
Your opponent might have used armor and stuff to try to like prevent the pop off, but if you push it through, then you can like play more freely on the subsequent turns.
Yeah, its biggest weakness right now is just that its starter slot is like really bad.
Yep.
Because
like
you have to. Yeah, you have to play Surging, and if you didn't have to run Surging, the deck would be really good. So Be Like Water isn't real because you only have one pump. Yeah, it doesn't really hit, and you only have one pump. So if you draw the pump with Be Like Water, then it like is actually really good because you always get them. Like they always put 3 in front, you get them, and then your whole turn's on. But if that doesn't line up in a game, you feel like incredibly less powerful. Also, having to run like Yellow Surging quite often in the deck is just like a joke. Like if we could cut that and put another starter in. So then a lot of your starter is off a Descendant, and just like casting a 1-cost Descendant is like really garbage. Because your hand doesn't want to play that way quite often. You want to start with a 0 and see what's going to happen. But you have to start with a 1 for 3 or a 1 for 2 on the yellow slot, and that thing's never going to hit. So you need the second piece to be natural. Then after that, you can probably go. So that's kind of where the issue comes in. But you will have a turn where you break your chess piece. You come in for a 5, and they go, crap, and they cover it up. And then you have the piece that goes afterwards, and then you just get in like almost every time. So, or they just give you like momentum for the rest of the game, and you chip them down with Kodachis until you eventually get in. It's just like depending on what order you draw in, or when you draw very specific cards in the matchup, the deck is either like way too powerful or not powerful at all.
Yep.
That's
Please ban Bond.
I spent about a day and a half playing only Katsu because I thought about bringing it to Nats. So like, that was my experience, and I was like, oh, this deck's actually pretty good. I'll put it in like B tier, and if someone like runs hot, they'll be A tier hero. Cool. Anything else? No? Good. Well, make sure if you're at Nationals, you stop by Gilded Raven Games booth, preferably to pick up my gold foils that they have for sale there. That would be a great thing for you to do with your money. And they're great gold foils. You're going to love them. They've been well taken care of. Other than that, feel free to stop by and say hello. Have fun at Nationals. I wish I was playing Gravy, but I'm probably not. So, but goodbye, everybody.
See you in Vegas, guys.
Yeah, we're getting rid of the envelope here,
Seven
but
envelope.
What we could do
in
here is go ahead
darkness.
and play the envelope.
All 3 pitches of Envelope and Darkness.